Hi, Jeremy Cordeaux in the Court of Public Opinion. I'm just on air here to let you know that we'll be live streaming the Court of Public Opinion every Friday between 9 o'clock and 12 on jeremycordeaux.com. Please join us. We'd love to have you.
Welcome to Hong Kong Confidential. I'm Jules Hannaford and I'm your host. I'm an Australian woman and I've been living in Hong Kong for many years. I'm a mother, a teacher, an author, and I want to share my wisdom and the wisdom of others with you. Thanks for joining me and I hope you enjoy the show. Hi Confidants, I just want to tell you about a book that I've written called Fool Me Twice. It's my memoir and it's a story of how I was scammed and assaulted while online dating. It was a difficult book to write because I really had to overcome the shame of my choices. But I wanted to do it so that I could help other people not get caught in the same trap that I was. At the end of the book, there are a whole lot of suggestions of what people need to look out for and how they can date safely online. My book is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble online, and it's also in Hong Kong bookstores. Here is a promo for my book. I hope you enjoy it.
From life on a farm in rural Australia, where wide open spaces made a young woman yearn to know what was beyond her country town. She moved to the city, became a mother, and found her dream career which took her across the world. But still, something's missing. In her search for love, she traveled far, trusted deeply. She wanted so badly to find someone that she almost lost herself in the process and learned some hard lessons along the way. Fool Me Twice, a new memoir by Jules Hannaford. Available on Amazon.
Today I'm here with Maitreyi Karanth. Hi Maitreyi, thank you so much for joining me today.
Pleasure.
It's very exciting to have you here, and we met recently at the Women's Empowerment Forum, so
Yes.
That was a really great experience.
Yes, it was.
And it's awesome to be here talking to you today. Can you fill me in and give me a bit of background on your childhood?
I was born in Manipal, which is a small town on top of a hill in India. And it's an educational town, which is very important in my entire story, with very progressive people all around. I had an amazing childhood up until I was 9 years old. I had very progressive dad, very nice mum. She was so nice that I actually complained to my dad once. I told him, why can't she be like other mothers? Why can't she just give me a whack or raise a voice? I did not appreciate it. I thought something was wrong with her. That's how nice she was.
Wow, that's so crazy that you thought that she needed to be meaner to be a good mum.
Yes. My dad actually said, you know what? I should have recorded this because I could have played this back to you someday and you would appreciate her niceness. I mean, of course I do now, but at that time it just seemed weird. All the parents were so strict and my mom was not at all. She was very trusting, very gentle, just a very, very nice woman. Up until 9, I had a very, very progressive, feisty. I was a strong girl. Everything was just wonderful. When I turned 9, I used to do a lot of school plays and everything. I was already a little actress in the school plays, always. And anywhere I could get up on stage, I would. And I was only 8, 9 years old, right? And it was Children's Day. November 14th is Children's Day in India. And I was in a school play that day. So that morning, all my dad's side relatives were in our house because my dad's mum was in the hospital. She was quite seriously ill. All the relatives were there. And I was strutting up and down in front of the mirror doing my lines and everything. And we heard this loud noise coming from my dad's room. One of my relatives, his brother, ran into the room to see what's that. My dad was trying to breathe. And it was that sound of him trying to breathe was so loud, it went all around the house. Of course, we realized that he obviously had a heart attack. we realized that we need to get something immediately. My neighbor was a doctor. I was there. They said, run and get the doctor.
You were 9 years old.
I was 9 years old.
Wow.
I was not understanding anything.
Okay.
Obviously, no idea about the heart attack and stuff. I just thought, Dad can't breathe. That's what I was told. He's not breathing. Go get a doctor. I ran to the neighbor's house, and I remember I would never blame her, but I today remember that when I went and told the doctor, my dad can't breathe, please come over. She actually was in her nightie. She went in to change and she wore her sari and everything. Being a little girl, when she came out, I was admiring the color of the sari. I don't have that sense of urgency either because I'm a child. But by the time I took her home, obviously he had passed away. He was 39. It was completely out of the blue. It was so sudden.
39 is so young.
So young. Mind you, when you're 9, 39 seems like your dad is old, you know. You
Sure.
don't see it at that time. But it didn't hit me at all at that time because it was so sudden. I didn't know what was happening. Everyone's crying because the whole family was there, right? They were there because the mother was dying. My dad's mom was dying. Everyone's crying. Everyone's hugging me and saying, oh, how sorry they are. I hated it. I ran and hid in my room. My mom, she was just crying loudly and she was asking me to come to her and I refused to go. It was just a mess. That day was completely a mess. My brother is a year younger than me. After that, our lives changed a lot because during that time, now India has changed a lot, but during that time, when I was younger, I'm 47 now, there was still a lot of stigma attached to being a widow. My mom had to move out of that house because the house was given by my dad's work. Since that wasn't there, we had to move out. She couldn't actually find a house on rental because they figured, all the landlords are thinking she's a widow. She's a young widow. What if the responsibility of the children comes on us? What if
she can't pay? She doesn't have a job?
No one was giving us a house.
Oh, no.
Finally, one kind man gave us this tiny house, which was just basically so small that we all had to sleep together in the living room. We put our mattress down on the floor and we slept in the living room. And this was my dad's house. My dad was at a point in life where the company had given him a massive house. He had a car.
Complete
change and a downgrade. But having said that, because it's just the three of us now and we had to go through life together, we became incredibly close. From then on, it was a very responsible upbringing. My mom got a job in a bank at the handicap department because my mom's blind.
Has your mum been blind her whole life?
Yes. She has a genetic disease called retinitis pigmentosa. Up until she was about 15, she could read and write. But after that, she couldn't read and write anymore. She couldn't see letters anymore. But she could still see people. And that went as well.
Oh, did it slowly go? Did she become completely blind?
Yeah. By the time she was 40, she could see, not even 40, by the time she was 30, she could see things, but not clearly anymore. She could see faces as a blurred vision, but not exactly point out where your nose is or mouth is and things like that. And eventually that went as well. Now she just can see light. If I went in front of her, she wouldn't know I'm standing in front of her at all. But she can see light. She doesn't want that to go. She's very scared that it'll all go black.
Yeah, that would be terrifying.
But hopefully not. She has it in her family. Her oldest sister had the same thing as well.
Really?
Yeah.
So is it genetic?
It's genetic, yes. And it skips generations. So we never know from whom it came or how long it might take for
it to come up again.
Yes,
right.
Someone to have it again, etc.
Oh my gosh. Do you have children?
Yes, I have one son. I got him. I was panicking. The doctor said that in our family, it's for the women, so the men won't get it. When I had a son, I kind of heaved a sigh of relief and I said, I don't want any more children.
Is that why you didn't have
I
any
didn't
more?
want anyway, but...
Yes, but you didn't want to take that risk. Oh, wow. Your mum got a job in the bank?
Yeah, the poor woman. My mum had never worked in her life before. I still remember her first day at the bank. She was shaking completely. She was just a homebody. She would love taking care of her house and my dad and children. She had never gone out to socialize even other than her little group. She was shaking and then they found out she was running a massive temperature. They had to send her back.
She worked herself up into a fever.
Yeah. It was so sweet, though. I mean, of course. And then she blossomed. She became this woman that none of us saw her ever, to be before.
What did she gain confidence and become more outspoken?
No, she was still the nicest woman ever. Never confrontational. Funnily enough, my mom always got that back from people. She gave that vibe. She got that vibe back from people. She never got cheated. She would just give money. She would lend money to everyone in the bank. Other people would have bad experiences. She never would. They would always give her back the money. Every lunchtime, I would go to check on her from school. She would be there telling all the stories to all these guys who are sitting in front of her. They loved her.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah, she kind of completely opened up. She loved her work. She loved going to work in the morning.
How did it impact you having a mother who couldn't see well? Did you know any different? Did you realize that it was different, or you just got on with it?
We got on with it knowingly that it is different. Of course it's different because we had to take her to the bank before we went to school, or we would trip on something that was there and she hadn't seen it. But at the same time, she had the sixth sense that was so great. Like the time, my son does this with his grandmother now, as in her now, just says, Granny, what's the time? And she'll tell you the time. It will be perfect.
Wow.
Because she listens to TV. She knows when a certain program comes. She has her own way of coping with this. She has the sixth sense that is so great. Sometimes it's even better than us because we take everything for granted.
We do. Well, they say that when you lose one of your five senses, that your other ones become stronger.
Yeah.
And then she's developed this sort of intuition as well.
Even when she walks, all her sisters have had some fall or the other in their old age. Mom, no, because she walks so carefully. Because she knows she has to be careful. The rest of us just take it for granted and we maybe just rush into things and,
Do you feel an added responsibility to look after her now that she's older because she can't see very well?
No. See, from the beginning, we felt that, not just now. Even when I was going to school and college, I felt like she was literally blindly trusting me with everything, right? I was the older girl, older child, I have a younger brother. I felt extremely responsible to never break that trust. I have been completely honest with her about everything, every little thing with my mom.
You didn't go through your rebellious teenage years?
No, I did not. I actually was more rebellious when I was younger and my dad was there than any time after.
Do you think that's one of the key impacts on losing your dad at a young age is that you became super responsible?
Yes.
What other impacts do you think it had, losing your dad when you were 9 years old?
Oh, I can't tell you for how many years I carried the baggage of feeling as if I was cheated by life for having taken him so young. Also because apparently, I say apparently, because I didn't know him that well. I knew him, but you know what I mean? It was 9 years old. You start making up stories afterwards as you grow older because you're just so desperately trying to keep his memories there. I went through years of feeling cheated because apparently I am exactly like him. I'm a public speaker. I love acting. I'm into the complete art thing, which he was. He was going up and up. He was in the radios. And during that time, that was a big deal. The best public speaker in that whole region. He was very sought after. He's exactly like me, extremely generous, but never keeps anything for himself. Gave everything away all the time.
Did he?
Yes.
Oh my
So
gosh.
my mom had nothing.
When he died?
Yeah, because he thought he was very young, so he never invested in anything. Anyone can come to him and ask, and he will just take everything that is in his wallet and give it away. And I'm exactly...
Do you do the same thing?
I am to date exactly the same.
Wow, that's so interesting.
When you hear these stories and then you say, oh my God, I am exactly like him. I want to share that with him. I'm like you, exactly like you. Also, my dad already saw that we were very similar during that time. When I was 9, he took me to a board meeting and introduced me to everyone in there. I shook hands with everybody and introduced myself. He thought I would be like him, which is the other thing I kind of felt cheated because I had all these talents and I didn't know what to do with them. I felt that if he was around, he would have guided me through the whole thing. I had to find it for myself as to what to do with my talents.
What were your ambitions as a teenager?
Oh, I wanted to be an actress. That was my ultimate thing. And
how was that received by your family? Did you tell them that's what you wanted to do?
They knew.
You were very vocal about it?
Yeah. I had said to my mom had told my dad, at that age, she had told my dad, what do we do? She wants to be an actress already. She knows she wants to be an actress. So my dad said, I'm completely okay with that. Give her some time. She's still young. If that's still what she wants to do and she grows up, she can go for it, is what my dad had said.
Did he think you were going to grow out of it?
No, he was
okay with it.
Completely. He thought it was great.
Okay, cool. That's very unusual, isn't it, for a parent of that era?
Yes, it was. And that is what I faced afterwards, because once he passed away, it was just my mom. All the relatives found it like as if it's their responsibility to have a say in everything that we wanted to do. It wasn't just my mom anymore. They don't have a dad, so we have to have a say in the matter. My mom, because she's blind, she's already dependent. I had a cousin who was much older than me, who my dad kind of gave refuge to when he needed, apparently. So he took up our responsibility. He was helping my mom bring us up as well. He was like a dad to me. My mom was already dependent. She couldn't exactly rebel against all the relatives and say, oh, I just want to do whatever my kids want to do. She can't do that. You get scared as well when you're in that position, right? So I knew there's no chance I would be allowed by not my mom, but the outside relatives. I did my thing though. Throughout my college, everybody knew me as Maitreyi, who does public speaking, who was the hero or heroine in any play and who represented the college everywhere. I didn't do any of the boy thing at all. Boys were just competitors in my mind. They would distract me from my goals. I was very naive because I didn't do all that. My husband was my first guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're one love. Wow,
I
that's
just
amazing.
went bulldozed through everything.
And what were you studying at university?
I did my maths degree. I did a BSc in maths. After that, I did my master's degree in business, for which I had to fight because all my relatives said it would be easier for your mother if you did your teaching degree. Because if you did a teaching degree, that means you're a good girl. If you did MBA, the MBA college in my town was very famous. And hence a lot of rich boys and girls came to study there from outside our place. Me and this other girl were the only two locals there. They're afraid that I'll just fall in love with one of these guys and run away. They kept telling my mom, don't send her, she'll run away and this will happen and that will happen. And my mom stood up for me.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, she stood up for me. She even funded all my education. One of the relatives even said, I'll never step foot in your house. My mom said, that's fine. He'll come back tomorrow. Don't worry. And he did. He was there in my house the next day.
He was threatening that he wouldn't come back to the house if
I did my MBA.
Because he wanted you to be a teacher.
Because he thought being a teacher would mean I'm a good girl. I would get a very decent job and then I could get married and everything would be wonderful. Why get into corporate and stuff like that?
What did you do after you finished your degree?
After I did my MBA?
Yeah.
During my MBA, I said to my mom that I want to be an independent woman. I want to show all this because when my dad was alive, because he was climbing up the social ladder, there were a lot of them that were hanging on to him. A lot of them that wanted to be up there with him. But when he died, they just dropped us. There were people that showed so much love to me, would completely ignore me. They would pass by in their cars. I would be walking to my school because we don't have money. And they wouldn't even recognize me.
Why do you think that is?
These are social climbers. They want to be and then they don't.
Had nothing to offer anymore.
Yeah, nothing to offer anymore. Plus, they're all worried that I might ask for something because we are not in that position anymore. That kind of ingrained in my mind. I had said to my mom while growing up, you know what? I'm going to build a bigger house than that guy right in front of that guy's house. I'll buy a bigger car. I'll take you around. And I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that.
You wanted to show them.
Yeah. I told my mom all this and I told her I'm not getting married because I'm going to be this person. My mom was okay. She said, that's fine. She said, let's do this together, kind of. But when I was finishing my MBA, my neighbor had spoken about me to my future husband's sister, who is a doctor in my hometown. So she came to my house once when I was doing my internship outside in another city. She came over and she said, she gave my whole background about her brother. He's an engineer, lives in Bombay. He loves heavy metal. Very strange for that time to come and give a proposal like that, but she did. My mom told her my daughter's not interested in getting married. She wants to work and things. So I'm sorry. My sister-in-law, she left. I came back from my internship. My mom said this happened. I said, why did you send her back? I want to see the guy's picture. What happened to building the big house and taking me around in the car?
Being an independent woman, not interested in men.
I'm like, no, I want to see the guy's picture. Because I saw his sister. She was very different. She wrote his bio data. And in that, she wrote how many times he's been abroad, what kind of a guy he is. She wrote about he likes heavy metal. I thought, this is different. She's a doctor. This is an educated family. The mother is a PhD and the father is also an engineer and everything. I was very interested and he lives in Bombay. So I took my best friend the next day, went to her house, knocked on the door, stood there, these two girls. I was 21. And I said, can I have his picture, please?
Did you?
Which is unheard of in India. You don't do that. Adults do that.
Because adults brokering, isn't it? It's not the young
It's
people
not,
doing
no,
it.
it's just so weird. She just laughed and she sat us down. She gave me a picture. I loved the picture.
Did you? You were immediately like...
I went and told my mom, I want to see him. I want to see him.
You basically had an arranged marriage then.
Yeah, and then he came home to see me. He is equally cool. I mean, he was just so cool. He didn't get any of this whole arranged thing, but he was doing it, but he didn't adhere to all the rules or anything. We got on, like we knew each other for years. Just that one day, the first day that we met, he didn't even want to go with his mom and sister back. It's like, oh, do I have to come? And they were like, yes. We haven't said yes yet. They try to make eye contact with him.
Do the families have to agree in an arranged marriage? Like if his mum and sister had said, no, we don't think she's right, would he have had to have said no?
He doesn't have to, but usually they do. Because if it is an arranged marriage and you're not in love with the person, why have that fight anyway? If you're in love with the person, yeah, you'll have that fight. But if it's arranged, might as well do it where everyone is happy.
But I do understand for some people that the love can grow in an arranged marriage.
Of course.
You may not be in love straight away.
Yeah, of course. You see, even in a love marriage, when you are in love, you are not the people. You're not the same people you're going to be for the rest of your life when you're spending it together. You will see a different part of each other after you're living together or after you're married even. How you respond to situations when you have children, etc. is completely different. There has to be some kind of give and take, compromise in any kind of marriage. So any kind of marriage can work, I feel, or not work.
Yeah, of course. Many love marriages don't work. But did you feel like you fell in love straight away in that first meeting?
No, I don't think so. I felt like we were friends straight away. We felt this great kinship and friendship. And I think that's what we have kept all throughout for 25
it's like
years.
The foundation, yes?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is so important. And we had 10 months after that. It wasn't like they said, oh, you have to get married. And then I couldn't say anything until we got married. No. We had 10 months where we could date. And if I thought something was wrong, I could have gone and told my mom, something's off and I don't want to get married to him. Same with my husband. He could have done that as well. Like I said, his family was very progressive, all highly educated people. There was no tension at all for us. What an amazing experience that I made this first person that was arranged.
That it was right.
And it was okay.
Yeah.
I don't have any sad story to give.
No regrets.
No regrets at all. I asked for it, right? It wasn't forced upon me. My mom would have been perfectly okay if I'd said no, but she was very happy, mind you.
Yeah, sure. You got married. How did you end up in Hong Kong?
After I got married, I went to Bahrain. We lived there for 8 years. I started tutoring. I had a maths tutoring business there because I did my PGCE as well. My husband moved to Hong Kong, and that's how I came to Hong Kong.
You had an epiphany when you hit 40 that you wanted to do something different with your life. Can you tell me about that?
Yes. Like I said, I had carried this burden. I'm not someone that looks back much. And yet I had this burden about my dad for years and years. When I hit 40, I thought, I have outlived my father. And yet I haven't done all the things that I wanted to do with the talents that was given to me by him, genetically.
What were some of the things on your bucket list that you wanted to do?
I wanted to be out there speaking, saying things that mattered. I wanted to be up on stage. I wanted to be acting. I wanted to be on radio. All the things that he did, but was cut short in his life. All the things I wanted to do anyway. I thought it will make him proud, but it is also my journey. And it's not just him that I'm trying to portray to everyone. It is also me. I wanted to show that to people. I had a roaring maths tutoring business here in Stanley. I closed it down, did a diploma in acting.
Oh, did you? Whereabouts?
At International School Academy of Film and Television.
Great.
It was really funny because I was the only 40-year-old there. All this 19, 20-year-old boys, they would ask me to do these love scenes because there is no other girl. I'm the only girl in
Was
the
it all
class.
boys? Oh my gosh, that's so weird.
Poor boys were so embarrassed. It's like trying to
Play a love
do
scene
a love
with
scene
your
with their
mum.
mother. I had a ball because I used to love making fun of the whole situation. I enjoyed it so much, but I was so out of it because I haven't done anything for so long. I didn't know how acting had changed, how people saw all these methods of acting, which I had never done before. I was completely out of my comfort zone. The only thing I was comfortable is when the camera switched on, I was comfortable.
Tell me about the TV series that you made. What was that?
After I did my diploma, I looked for jobs in acting. But in Hong Kong, for English-speaking roles, I mean, it's my fault. I should have learned Cantonese. But anyway, it is what it is. I didn't. For English-speaking roles, I couldn't find any. Unless you want to be like a illegal immigrant or something in like a small role. I decided I'll produce so that I can do my own stuff. I need it. And you see, you're a first-time producer. You don't have anything to showcase. It's not like I could go and get sponsors. I had to use my own funds. I did something called Maitreyi's Hong Kong. It was like a travel show. I loved it. I did not use any students, etc. I used proper editing and I spent properly because I wanted a good showcase material. Then, of course, there's no takers for it, right?
You couldn't get it out there.
I couldn't get it out there. Finally got it out on ZTV, which is an Indian television channel, but they aired it all of Asia Pac. I did get my airtime finally, but I had to pay for the slots.
Oh, did you? So this was a very costly hobby, was it?
This ended up being very, very expensive and ended up leading to nowhere. Then I did a short film after that. Again, I produced it called Death of a Helper. My best friend Alan and me, we wrote it and he did the whole screenplay and everything. We shot that movie as well, which is in post-production now. And I've realized how long it takes for post-production in the movies.
What are you hoping to do with this one? Is it a feature length?
It's
or
20 minutes.
Film?
Yeah,
okay,
it's 20-minute film and hopefully get it out into the film festivals. There's a market in planes and things like that for short films. Eventually, hopefully sell it to somebody. It's a dark comedy.
Great.
It's got a lovely mix of expats. There's Americans, there's me, there's Chinese local actress, stuff like that. So it's a nice mix.
You have to pay everyone to be in this film.
I did.
You're spending all your money again.
This time I had a friend, Patrick, who's back in the US now. He put half of the money as well. We all co-produced it. It was fine. It wasn't too bad, this one.
You're happy with it? Do you think it's going to be great in the end?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I wouldn't say it's great, but I think it's okay. This one wasn't fully paid for, as in we did have volunteers, we did have students. Not like Maitreyi's Hong Kong was completely professionally done. In this, we had volunteers and things like that because I just could not afford another one like that. Maitreyi's Hong Kong was like $200,000 for 5 episodes is what I spent.
What?
And I'm like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Because editing is very, very, very expensive in Hong Kong.
I've been stressing out about how much I'm spending on this podcast and it's nothing compared to that.
This has ended up being like how my son's education is so expensive in this day. He's studying in Australia. I keep saying this is my education. I didn't spend so much when I was studying because it was in India. But this is as if I have gone to Australian university.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way of looking at it. Now you do stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
Where do you do that? And how did you get into stand-up?
Stand-up felt like a natural progression. Now it feels like it was a natural progression. But like I said, my best friend Alan, who is a Scottish guy, and me, we have very similar sarcastic sense of humor. We could make fun of any situation between us. I mean, some of the things we say, if someone hears, that would be so bad.
On PC.
Yeah, completely. We are the kinds that could even make fun out of a funeral situation. I've always thought, wow, this is so funny. We should write like a sitcom or something. The two of us should sit together and write that. Then one day, I didn't even know about live comedy in Hong Kong. One day, someone sent me this advert of an open mic. I don't know why he sent it to me, but he did. And I said to Alan, why don't I write something? He said, go for it. My husband's always super supportive of anything and everything. Good. I said, okay, I'm going to write something. Just go do it. Let's see how it works. I went. The first open mic, I stood in front of the audience, looked there, stared down, and I told Upi, my husband, not to come because I said, I'll look at you. You'll probably make a face or something and I'll forget everything. But I had Alan there. I stared at him and I forgot everything. I went completely blank.
How did that feel? Did you panic?
Yeah. It was just this tunnel vision and completely blank. But it lasted for a few seconds only. Immediately, everything came back and I went off, did it. I had some guy who came up to me and said, it was great. He said, I really liked the pause you did in the beginning. I was like, thank you very much. It wasn't really a pause.
Yeah,
but
it was well planned, all planned. That's the answer.
I felt a little encouraged. So I went to the second open mic. At the second open mic, there was a touring Indian famous comedian. He came just to see the open mic. He spotted me and said, after my set, he said, do you want to open for me? And he had a 200 plus audience. I had no idea about that, 200 and all that. He said, oh, will you open? I said, yeah, sure. Why not? He said, do the same set you did just now. I said, okay. I went to Take Out Comedy Club the next day because he asked me to come there. And I was like a complete newcomer. I had no idea what Takeout was. Jamie, who owns Takeout, was petrified because he wasn't told I'm going to open, right? They told him then and there, she's going to open for him. Here I am, sashaying inside. Oh, this is a nice place. I've never seen this place. And I go to the mic and I'm like, oh, this mic is too difficult to take out of the stand. And I'm trying to take it out. I can't. Jamie's thinking, who is this woman? Yeah. She's going to destroy my reputation of this club. He takes the producer aside. I can see a heated conversation where he's saying, What's going on? What are you doing? The guy says, I've seen her. Believe me, it's going to be okay. I come on. I get a great reception. Goes so fabulous that Jamie fist bumps me after and says, do you want a gig here? Come for some open mics in my comedy club. And then the next thing I know, I'm on their weekly weekend shows. I've been doing their weekend shows for 3 years. Because I opened for this guy, the Indian community saw me, and then I started opening for all these big Indian comedians that come. It's just...
That's great.
Yeah, it just really went crazy. It just took off. When Takeout Comedy Club closed recently, I decided to produce my own comedy shows. Now producing one. The next one is on the 4th of May. I do this now. I produce as well. I book other comics, and I also do my set. I perform or sometimes I host.
Oh, great. And so where do you do that? In different venues around Hong Kong?
No, I do this only at a venue called The Nest. It's in Lang Kwai Fong.
Oh, yes, I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's a lovely little place and it fits 70 people. It's like a more party atmosphere rather than just a comedy club. It's more party atmosphere because it's already a bar.
Oh, great. Well, congratulations. That's so fantastic.
Thank you.
What do you think are the best and the worst parts about being a stand-up comedian?
The best, I think, is the audience feedback. When they give you that laughter, there's nothing like it. It just fills your heart up. Equally, if there is silence, if there's a joke that does fantastic in your head, and then you say it and there's complete silence, you sink, you just die there. It affects your next joke. But feedback is everything, right? Whatever you groan or you go, oh, or you feel offended or whatever, the feedback is everything. And also I feel that ever since I have become a stand-up comedian, I have started seeing everything from that perspective. It helps you loosen up. It's just for me, I'm not speaking for other comics because I know that's not the case with everyone. But for me, like now, if anyone comments on my weight or anything, it just seems funny. It's just something I can use in my comedy. I keep my notes everywhere now.
Anytime anything sort of negative happens, you turn it into something funny.
Yeah, completely.
That's really great.
Yeah.
Do you have any sort of story to share about some sort of weird or unusual moment in your comedy career?
Sometimes when people come, like after my show one time, there was this English lady that came up to me and she said, this is exactly what happened. And now it's a part of my set. But she came up to me and she said, oh my God, you're so funny. She said, the way you say bloody, you can never offend me with that accent.
That's so funny.
I said something else after because, wow, is that an insult or, what is it? It's definitely politically incorrect. But she wouldn't stop. She kept going on about how the accent is so cute and so funny that it cracks her up. And she even said, I'm not sure if the Americans get it because I think the British know you better.
Because you're colonial.
Yes, because she kept digging a hole for herself the whole time. She said, say anything, insult me. So I said, fuck you. She went, oh my God, you're so cute. There was no way I could offend her. She was serious about that. That has become a part of my routine now because I just thought that was gold.
That was gold.
That was completely comedy gold.
Yeah. How fantastic.
Yeah. There was another time as well. Someone said, this was not to do with comedy. I was having a serious conversation with someone and I said to her, I've lost 20 kilos in the last 8 months. And she said, yeah, but you're still fat, right? I was just being an Indian, you're used to it. Because in India, they say things as they are. Sometimes it can shock you. And I was like that myself because you're doing it to each other in India. Because you're just thinking, you've got a mirror in the house. You know how you look. You're just saying, hey, you put on weight or hey, you've lost weight. That is so normal in India. It could be good or bad. You're just saying it as it is. When I came out, I was like that as well. I had all those traits. I would bump into people because I had no sense of personal space, which we don't in India because there are so many people. You can't afford to let everyone walk past before you walk and stuff like that. My friends would be like, can you just not bump into me the whole time? Can you walk in your space? And I wouldn't even understand it. I would tell people, hey, you put on weight.
You do it yourself.
Yeah. I taught myself because I offended a few people. I got that reaction. I realized you don't do it. I've lived now 20 odd years abroad. So now I know what to say and what not to say.
I was wondering if you're still doing it for comedy material.
I do it in the material. Yeah, of course. The more politically incorrect you are, the funnier it is, right? Because everyone wants to do it. They just can't.
Exactly.
So then they hear someone doing it. They'll love it.
Who have you met along the way who's had a big impact on you?
To be honest, I do love comics like Ricky Gervais and Sarah Silverman, Billy Connolly. I'm a big fan of British comedy. But for my own personal growth, I've had the most impactful was Alan, my best friend. It was him that kind of made me feel like, yeah, you could do this. And Jamie from Takeout Comedy Club, the owner of Takeout Comedy Club. Because at that time, for the 3 years that I gigged there, I was the only woman. They were all boys.
Really?
Yeah. I did feel that I had to earn their respect. Whereas I saw other guys who were coming in, newcomers, hi-fi immediately in. Whereas I had to earn my respect. For a long time, I just had to put my head down and work through it. During all this, Jamie was the one who just said, do what you are good at. Forget everything else. Just concentrate on that. He gave me a lot of tips. I was completely new when I came, right? Completely new. He gave me opportunities. He raised my time from 5 to 10 to 15 in no time at all, which is very, very rare.
Well, that's a real compliment and shows your
level of talent. It is a compliment, yes.
Yeah.
It is a compliment. And it is also his confidence in me, right? It was amazing for me getting as much as I did from him. And that was very good, actually. I mean, I owe a lot to him.
That's really nice. You're a bit of a philanthropist. Tell me about your philanthropy work.
Yeah, like my dad, I just
give money away.
I am a giver, and I realized that that is something I never want to change about me, no matter what the circumstance, because no matter how much I have, I will always want to give. Even if I have little, I'll want to give. I have just decided to streamline my thoughts and not give randomly, rather do it in a more purposeful way. For example, I was in Bombay last year and I was in an Uber. And the Uber driver, we got talking and he told me that it's not his own taxi, which is very common in India. They buy 10 cars and then they get these drivers, give them a minimum pay and they drive the Uber and make all the money for the owners of the car. They get very little money for it, but they have nowhere to go, so they do it. We had this talk. I asked him some random life questions. I loved all his answers. And I told him, give me your number, I'll be in touch. Then I called up my best friend in Bahrain and I told him I would like to help this guy buy his own car, be his own master, and do well in his life. We actually helped him buy his own car, set it up for him. Yeah. So he's now his own master of his own destiny now.
Do you stay in touch with him?
Completely.
Oh, great.
He's ever so grateful.
I'm sure he is.
I don't go that often to Mumbai because I go to Bangalore. But when my friend goes to Mumbai, he comes to the airport, picks him up, takes him to wherever he needs, keeps his day free for that. And he's just ever grateful because that's huge.
I'm sure you've changed his life.
Yeah.
Did you do fundraising for that or did you just fund it?
The two of us got together and did it. But we also made sure that he has part responsibility. We didn't want it to be given in a platter so that he thinks, oh, I don't have to work for this. We did keep a small part of it as a loan, not from us. We helped him get a loan from a car loan giver. We paid all the big deposit and everything. We just made a small part as a loan to make him responsible so that he has something to pay off every month.
That's a good idea.
Yes, we did that. But I mean, in 4 years, it's all his.
That's amazing.
So those kind of things. Or I sent books and pens and stuff to the Philippines to be distributed in schools. Or one of my ex-helpers, she ended up with TB. I helped her with paying for all her medical expenses. Things like that. And I'm a big animal lover. I'm a vegetarian. And I've got 6 dogs at home.
6 dogs?
6 dogs in Hong Kong. And all are rescues. I do a lot for animals. In Thailand, I have a very close relationship with Thailand because we have our retirement home there. There, I helped one of the dog rescues build the roof and all that for their shelter for the dogs.
Oh, that's so nice of you. You're doing so many amazing things just for little groups and little grassroots level rather than working for big charities, which is really nice.
Because I have this need, I want to get my hands dirty. I don't want to just give it to a charity. I want to be in charge. I want to see the satisfaction. I want to know what happened to the money. And then it feels something in my heart. I wanted that. So it's a selfish thing, maybe.
No, but also, all your money's going where you're putting it.
Yes.
When you put money into big charities, sometimes only a percentage goes to where you think it's going to go.
Yes.
So that's really nice. What have you learned about yourself throughout your life?
Oh, one big thing I learned actually this year, I thought about this, is that I bulldoze through life. I just go up, forward. And I take people with me forward. The ones that I want and can keep up with me, I take them forward with me.
Do you ever feel like you need to slow down or you're very happy moving at that kind of pace?
Yeah, I am very happy. And I have an amazing support system. They all move forward with me and they are happy with that whole setup as well. That's the biggest thing about me, I think. That's why it was so important that I lose that dad baggage because it was becoming like a baggage because it was such an emotional thing that I had hanging on my shoulders. I lost it 2 years ago, by the way. I am free of it now.
How did you lose it?
That was a very interesting story and weird as well. When I started doing this whole thing, which got me closer to my dad in my mind, which is acting comedy, I started getting more and more emotional. I started thinking about him more. I started thinking, if he was there, I would have done this before and not now because he would have guided me too. I started thinking, oh, he would have been so proud of me. We could have discussed these things. So I would cry a lot in my room whenever I thought about those things. I started getting extremely emotional. I started writing all these poems. I write poems and stories. I would cry writing all these poems. What is going on? One day I meet this woman. I was volunteering for a differently abled group. And I meet this lady. We get on very well. She also has an organization that does things for that. I invite her home. She comes to my house. She apparently does these meditation things where you get messages and things. She just said, I have a message for you and that you should let him go. I burst into tears. I started crying. The very next week, I go to a play. And I meet this lovely young man sitting next to me. We start talking and we have a lot of fun because, the play was rubbish. So we were making fun of the play and stuff. Anyway, we were talking and he said he does this. I don't know why, I can't remember what it's called, but he does that as well.
Is it like some psychic kind of thing or some
it is.
Channeling or?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
He said that he can body scan. Basically, during that time, I was going through toothache and it was 3 weeks No one could find out what the toothache was. I went at the best dentist. He sent me to a second opinion. Everyone said, took x-rays. They said, no idea why you have a toothache. He said, I'll do a body scan for you. I said, yeah, sure. It was all fun. This is in the middle of the play.
Brilliant.
And then he sits like that, does a body scan. And he says, you have a pain in your tooth. And he said, it lights up. There is a channel from the tooth to your heart. And that is lit up, which means you have an heartache and it's coming out in the form of toothache. And I went, what kind of heartache? And he said, I don't know, you have an unresolved issue, maybe with your parent or something. He said, again, I burst into tears.
Again? Oh my
I told
gosh.
him that I was really very emotional these days about my dad because of what I was doing. Then he said, you have to let him go. He said, that's what's coming to me now, that you have to let him go. And he explained to me what letting go means. He said that you are weighing his spirit down, weighing him down with sadness. He said, remember him happily and he's free. Doesn't mean that he's not going to be next to you anymore. He's still there, but he is free. I went home, said this to my mom. Mom's let him go years ago. She's made peace with it. She's never fallen in love again or married again. She's very happy. She loves him even to date the same way, basically going on her memories. But she's let him go. She's a very free woman. I told my mom, why should I let him go? He's my father. I want him by my side. He helps me through things and this and that. My mom was like, I don't even know what to say. I cried and cried and cried. I was crying myself to sleep, woke up suddenly and said, okay, I'm letting him go. I said, okay, I understand that he will still be with me as he always has been. I know he's there because I know some of the situations he's actually helped me. I've always had amazing men in my life, and I think it's him sending these people to make up for the fact that he's not been in my life. I strongly believe that, right? I said that and I cried myself to sleep. Next morning, toothache gone.
Wow, that is so spooky.
3 weeks of toothache and no toothache anymore. Just gone.
Oh my gosh.
And I felt this whole burden off my shoulder. It has been amazing since then.
Oh, that's really wonderful. What a lovely story.
Yeah, I haven't cried one time since then about thinking about him. I'm just so free, so free.
Oh, that's such a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. That's lovely. Isn't that amazing that you met that guy at the play? Yeah. It's serendipity.
Exactly.
It's incredible.
That is just weird.
Yeah, it is super weird. If you could go back and change anything about your past, what would it be? Or would there be anything that you would change?
No, I can say, of course, that everything, if Dad was alive, things would have been different. But who knows what it would have been. I love who I am today. I don't know if I would have loved myself then, because it would have been a completely different life. My mom, my brother and me are so close. We all are self-made people. We did it all on our own. And I would never have seen the side of mom that I saw afterwards. Such a strong
she wouldn't
woman.
have gone to work.
She wouldn't have gone to work. She would have been very happy where she was. Everything happens for a reason. No, I would not change anything at all. Even my arranged marriage, everything. It was just what it should have been.
Yeah, you're so lucky. That's fab. What are your hopes for the future?
That I just continue to bulldoze through life.
Yeah. Having an impact with your films and your comedy.
Yeah. The biggest thing I want to continue to do is the charity stuff that I do, because it really, I mean, for me, that fills me up.
It's good for the soul, isn't it?
It
really does.
Very good for the soul.
It's very good to make you feel better about yourself because you're helping others and giving back.
Yes. And I love it. And it comes very, very, very naturally to me. Giving comes very naturally to me. It doesn't have to be charity, even at home or among our relatives or anything. I love giving. It just comes naturally. So I want to do that and continue to do that. And I hope God keeps me in a position to do that. Other than that, I want to experience everything. I had my first night out where I went from Lang Kwai Fong straight to the airport in the morning. I felt like a hero.
You pulled an all-nighter. Brilliant.
And I'm 47 years old. That was my first time. Yes. I want to just experience everything. I want to continue in my comedy journey, whether it becomes a very big thing or not. I have plans to produce more bigger shows, better shows, maybe even shows that get up to Netflix, not necessarily for me, but other comics where you book other comics. But as a producer, I want to do everything. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I want to experience all of these things. And tomorrow, radio, I love talking on radio. I love this. I never know. I'll just do everything.
You've got a lot of dreams and you're willing to take the risk. You're willing to put yourself out there. And I think that's a really great lesson to take away from this podcast and talking to you, that if you don't have a go, you'll never know.
No.
So you might as well try, and you just don't know what you might be sitting next to a body scanner who changes your life.
And there's nothing to lose, nothing at all to lose.
Maitreyi, if my listeners out there want to see you do your comedy, how can they do that?
Like I said, the 4th of May, we have our show called Laugh Wai Fong. If they could even look me up, Maitreyi Karanth, I have a comedy Facebook page, which is updated with all these comedy shows that I would be producing and will be featured in.
Oh, great.
Performing in.
And that's at the Nest?
At the Nest.
In Hong Kong, in
Hong Kong, yes. It's on Ticket Flap as well. So if you go on Ticket Flap, you can see the advert over there and just book a ticket. We sold out twice already.
Oh, congratulations. That's brilliant.
Yeah, but it's now a pressure. I want to sell out every show now.
yeah. You've got to keep meeting that benchmark.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Pleasure is mine.
Your life story is super, super interesting. And I hope that the listeners out there feel inspired to go out and try something new and to take a risk.
I hope so. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. For my listeners out there, thank you for tuning in again. And I really appreciate all your support. If you would like to sponsor Hong Kong Confidential, please go onto Patreon and search Hong Kong Confidential. Even for $1, you can help me get my podcast to stay on the air. And if you've really enjoyed this show, please share it with somebody else. And if you want to take a risk in your life, get out there and do it. Thanks again. It's been really wonderful talking to you, and good luck with your next show.
Thank you.
So that brings us to the end of another Hong Kong Confidential podcast. I'm Jules Hannaford. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you'll be with me again next week. If you enjoyed today's podcast, please can you go to iTunes to rate and review it. I would really appreciate your feedback. You can email me at jules@hongkongconfidential.net, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Hong Kong Confidential. If you'd like to hit me up on Twitter, it's at Jules Hannaford. I would love to hear from you.
Hi, Jeremy Cordeaux in the Court of Public Opinion. I'm just on air here to let you know that we'll be live streaming the Court of Public Opinion every Friday between 9 o'clock and 12 on jeremycordeaux.com. Please join us. We'd love to have you.